Oh, I got to take you out. Hey, this is great. Hey, we're live tonight with Tom Toney. Tom Toney, he is just one of my best friends from on every level, on a just a friend level, on a fun level, on a spiritual level. Partner, and I just love Tom, and it's going to be a great show. Can't wait for you to hear what he's got to say, and I mean, you better hold on, because when we get together, there's a lot of chatting going on. So we're going to have a blast. Here we go. Tom Toney.
Doug McCloy.
I tell you what, I've been waiting for this part of the book. I've been waiting for this part of the chapter to have you on. I'm so excited that you're here tonight for this one.
Gosh, man, it's good to be with you. Honestly, it's so cool watching your show and some of the amazing conversations you've had with people. As like, you're talking about the idea that that a little bit of the vision, the 2020 vision show, is like almost in lieu of writing a book. Yeah. Let's do this and let's share the memories with everyone, which I think is kind of brilliant. But man, watching some of the shows that you've done so far, conversations you had, I feel a bit more like a footnote than a chapter. I can tell you that. The stories, man, have been unbelievable. Absolutely,
they have been good.
They have been.
Hey, I'm putting it out there for everyone to share. If you're jumping on, I mean, there's already 17 or so people on here watching. If you're watching. You want to share this one out. There's going to be some great stuff tonight to come on. We always try to keep it at an hour, Tom.
Let's do it.
We may have to do 2 shows with all the energy that you and I have when we get together.
No promises, man. We'll do it.
I want everybody to know tonight, for the first time, I'm repping the Family Life Church. Repping the shirt. Tom told me this is a vintage shirt.
It's vintage, baby.
Old vintage. Yep. So I love it. I'm so happy to be here with you. Hey, see, Casey already called it out. I already had that. I'm going over to the comments. While everybody's sharing, we'll go through some of the comments. And that's one of our Jamaican patients down there that just love when they're all jumping on, because, Tom, this thing's on like 5 different platforms right now.
Awesome.
So it's on Mission of Sight, which you've been a part of.
Yep.
Big part of. It's on Professional Eye Care Jamaica, which you've been a huge part of. It's on Professional Eye Care Chattanooga now.
Boom.
We got to get you down here.
Got to do that. Yeah.
I know you're coming. What's it go on to next? It's on the Professional Eye Care's YouTube.
Okay.
So you can catch it there. And then it is on my own page, which you're a huge part of my page. I mean,
with that picture you posted of the show, I'm actually a huge part of your
Lee,
man.
That's back in the day. People need to know that was. That's the thing I should know. I don't even know what year that was.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's a great question. That's probably 6 years ago, at least.
No. More than that.
More?
Yeah. Grant's 18 now, right?
That's right. You're probably,
He was maybe 10.
Yeah. So maybe 8 years ago. Wow. That long? That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was well after we had gotten together back in Marion when we met.
Yeah.
It's Marion where you and I met first.
Right.
I don't even know what year it is, Tom. Do you know what year it was?
I know it's 2020 right now. Is that what you mean? What year I know that it would have been
it was the year after you came back to Marion or something like that to take over your mom and dad's, to take over Family Life. Or at that time,
2009. Yeah.
2009.
I believe so. It was one of the first years that we had done what was called a Big Fall Blast at our local mall. And you actually came out as one of the sponsors for that Fall Blast. And you had a booth set up doing some eye exams and stuff for back to school stuff for kids, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And a mutual friend of ours introduced us and said, hey, you got to meet Dr. Doug. And so we met, briefly chatted a little bit. It was instant. You know how it is. Yep. Part A, part B put together. And so, that's kind of where it started, is that night.
Yeah. Got Terry Dennis there. He's a big part of the scene. Dennis Weiser, everybody. Hey there. So That was so that was about 2009. So we're almost ready. Well, we're beyond our 10-year anniversary. We never had a 10-year anniversary, Tom.
You know, I like it. So here's my theory, right? I like to ride bike quite a lot. And so whenever I go out for a ride, I do not like to end on like typical numbers. So if I'm going to go out for a casual ride, I'm not going to ride 10 miles. I'm going to ride 11 miles because the 11's just 10 is so cliche. Anybody can celebrate a 10th year anniversary of a friendship.
Yeah.
You and we got to go 11 or 12 or something. It's just got to be different.
Like Kathy should know. Like, see, I just see Kathy on there. She says I'm still an FLCer, and I definitely am. I'm always going to be an FLCer.
Yes.
10-year celebration in Jamaica, but I think we missed that. We already passed it. We'll do 11.
We got to go 11. 11's the number.
Yes. So that gives everybody a little background. We got a long time together. We've been together. Great years for us and our family too. In those times, you know, I mean, a lot of our story is Jamaica and serving down there missionally and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, having the things that we have there now because of those years. I remember very much in those years, so we're saying that's 2009.
Yeah. So like, you know, talking about 14, 15, somewhere around in those 2014, 2015 are really kind of the hub years for starting into the Jamaica relationship.
Yep.
Down there. In fact, I was just looking at actually this journal right here the other day, reading through some of those journal entries from being on your balcony in June of 2015, writing some of my journal entries here in this journal. So
watch this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you here now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I know I did. Like that.
Whoa, here we go.
Is that it?
Yes. There's the tie.
That's the tie meister. I don't know if you're watching tonight, but that's Ty Clace, who was on the show already. Comes out of the Quest kids kind of game, right?
Yep. Early on.
That's you in Montego Bay, and that's exactly the time you're talking about. Is that the journal time you're talking?
What's that? Yeah, that would have been, definitely some journal time there on that. I mean, anytime, obviously, that I would come down with you and be there, just the mornings being out on the balconies there and those places, just what an incredible opportunity to get quiet.
Yeah,
pretty unprecedented, actually. Man, I'm telling you, some of the greatest revelation in my adult life has happened in those moments. I'm going to have them captured in my journals, and some incredible insights into the Word of God, the things of God, mission, assignment on our lives. Some really important stuff's happened.
You know,
and others.
I love that part of it, because then it makes me not feel like I'm such a taker. You know, so many things that you're, you know, I don't want to say your ministry, because it's more than that. You know, it's like your everything you do that has done to help us and formed us, like my kids. You know, let's talk about Tom Toney, the Quest, your Quest program. You know, the Kids Under Excellent Service Training, right? Is that the acronym for it? Right. And I just know that my kids, and Griffin was on the show a few weeks ago. I know that a lot of who they are is because of those formative years in Quest, in Marion, Ohio, at FLC. Now, I know there's formative years in the Church of the Nazarene, absolutely. Right. And I know that there are formative years in the things that they're doing now. And but there was a window in their lives that Quest was the thing where they were up on stage, where Griffin was acting, like doing things that really would have never been in my wheelhouse at all. Yeah. The stuff that you kind of drew out of them and did them, and stuff that they still remember. I mean, Go and Love is Red. So, you know, the things that you guys do, because you're really a kid at heart always, but you do come out of a little bit more of youth ministry. I mean, like, you're a kid's guy in a sense, right? Yes. Tell us a little bit about that, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, you know, early on, obviously, you know, raised in the church, my parents pastored early on when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, steeped in doing puppets and those kinds of things. Puppets. Yeah. This is back in the 70s, you know, so you're not talking about new age stuff. This is back when, the Muppets were just kind of getting popular.
Yeah.
But doing all that kind of stuff. I preached my first sermon at 11 years old. I never forget it. Running for Jesus was about 12 minutes long to the adult congregation, and ran right back down to the kids ministry and right back into everything in there. It's always been a big part of my heart to help young students really understand what's locked up inside of them. So many kids don't have that opportunity because they're not necessarily in an environment that draws that out of them. And so, but that doesn't mean it's not in there. So when you give a kid the chance to really reach deep into who they are and the things that they're passionate about and they love, and they just come alive. And so that's what we do with Quest, is we give them the opportunity to do that, to use their gifts and talents and to learn how to navigate friendships and leadership, and how to follow a leader, and how to self-expect, set their own goals, those types of things, and completely release them to do all of that work. And the truth is that's a really kind of a foreign concept in most congregations, but man, that untapped potential exists all around the world today. So these young students are getting engaged in ministry, and it makes a huge difference in their lives. But, we traveled into kids ministry for a long time. My wife and I did together. We were kids pastors at a church in Oklahoma City for a while. Yeah. And then Chicago before we moved back here to Marion, where we now lead pastor. But even coming back here in 2008, we have continued to keep that alive. And now Quest is not only national, but now going international. Yeah. Really excited about all of that. And to your point, man, the stories that we hear from these students that have been through, like your kids, Kyla and Griff and Max and them, and as they've come through all of that, and Abby, just wow. I mean, one of the most, I really loved the conversation I recently got to have with your Max. I also have a Max, just so everybody knows I have a son named Max. We call him Max squared, right? Max squared, yeah. Yeah. And he's the second Max. And Dr. McCloy, your Max, and I had a conversation. This would have been maybe 9 months ago or so. And it was phenomenal to hear how he's processing life. The kid's a rock star. I know you know that. Yeah. But I just love to hear. We kind of caught him and some of his friends and Grant and some of their friends off guard. We were talking about some things. So Kathy and I pulled a Doug McCloy on him. We just kind of sat down in the middle of them and started asking questions. There you go, the question asker. Yes, we robbed their conversation, and we kind of took it a bit of a serious route. And it was fun to watch them all process. But Max and I got into a conversation afterwards. And I got to tell you, man, what has been planted in their heart from an early age in porting bricks and cement in Jamaica, down there at the Gammersfelder, and all that they've gotten to watch you guys navigate, and man, being a part of this whole journey with us, and just, I'm telling you, it sets something in motion in the lives of these kids that becomes undeniable. They own it. It becomes their own. That's the thing. That's it. It becomes their own. And man, that conversation I had with him at our kitchen counter 9 months ago, I walked away going, it's his own. Yeah. He owns it now, and I'm telling you, just watching a little bit of the interview with Griff and all of that, and just knowing your kids, man, it just is phenomenal to watch what God can do in the heart of a young kid, student. You're talking like 8, 9, 10 years old. You're not talking 17, 18. Yeah. They weren't old. 9, 10, 11 years old, Yeah. And that's when stuff gets set in stone, bro. And we've seen it. We've seen it in your kids. We've seen it in so many others. So anyhow, obviously a bit of a passion there for me, but yeah, man, we are passionate about it. I love it. That's actually one of the connects with Jamaica. I mean, Quest was an early on connect with Jamaica with Nurse Karen. And
Nurse Karen's been running Quest down there for years now from those days.
Man, alive. And I'm telling you, well, and you're seeing the fruit of it. I mean, look at the leaders that are coming off that mountainside. Oh yeah. Look at this. I'm going to throw this one out on you. Oh man, there we go. There it is.
There's when Quest was blowing up down in at Morning Star Mountain Ministry Center with Nurse Karen. Nurse been on the show, and pouring into the lives of those kids. just big years, you know. I'm going to throw, well, I'll save the other one. I got another one too, another season when you were there, because that was, first season was really going up to nurses.
Yes.
And developing those. And really, the other part I just think people should know about you, because I think people sell a lot of like pastoral or ministry people short in that you're like one dimensional, or, you know, what do you do there, pastor? You preach on Sunday, every Sunday about how I'm not that good. Like, you're so not that guy, but you are so that guy. Like, to me, you're still one of my very favorite preaching pastors to listen to. You're the dynamic, the visuals that you create with words and the visuals you put on stage. And I think it's because that comes out of your children's ministry aspect, that you still illustrate to us in a childlike way, or a really way we can see it and feel it, understand it. I still love that part. I miss that part. Now, the cool thing is I still get to catch that part on Zoom now, or on Facebook Live, you know, on the weekends. So we can still be there. But where was I going, Tom, with that comment is the question. I was going somewhere with, that you're just so much more than that. You know, you're more than just a regular old preacher who just sticks the word up in front of you until you know that. But you have this, you got this big impact in Marion, in leadership in the chamber and in leading companies. I mean, you're a true leader of people and vision and casting vision and making things happen too. I think people need to know that part about you. And I think that's another part why I love being around you so much, is because you're so multidimensional. You know, it's your business too, really. I mean, in a sense, you make things happen and you lead people. Tell me about that part of your life, Tom.
I mean, that's something that you've talked about a lot. You've talked about here on this show, and you and I have talked a lot about, and that's, you know, a concept that ever since I've known you from the very beginning, that's been really kind of central to your vocabulary. Mm-hmm. And that is the whole my work is my witness idea, you know? Right. So that for you is not foreign. It's definitely not foreign in our conversations, that the being a Christ follower, being a man of God doesn't end at the doors of the church. You know, it pervades every part of our life. And like you said, as a father and as a business, but as businessmen as well. You know, Jesus said, I need to be about the business of my Father. What he was doing was the work that God had sent him to do. And so, you know, when you think about business is just an expression of who we are and who we've been made to be. The hard part sometimes is that if we don't watch, we can get it twisted to think that business is all about us, but it's not. Business is about how we connect with our community. It's the stuff that we provide for our community. It certainly provides, you know, income and a living for us and our families, but it was never meant to stop there. It was always meant to be a vehicle to connect the community to the greater purpose, and that is God's purpose and design for your life. So as business people, we're never truly expressing ourselves as Christ followers in business if we're not expressing that business for God's purpose. Hold on. You have so much content so much often, right? So just repeat that one. You never so much. Can you remember? Did I catch you? Did I totally throw you off there? No, it's all right. It's all right. I'll try to remember it. Our business, so sometimes we try to make a distinction and we go, okay, I go to church. I love Jesus. I'm a good family man, and I'm a business, but I'm also a business owner. Like it's some separate thing.
Right.
And honestly, in the idea of Christendom, we try to create so many silos. Like I'm this over here and this over, but it's not. We are who we are. We're Christ followers where we are. And our business is meant to be an expression of the gifts that God has put inside of us for the purpose of the kingdom of God. And that's the only way that our business can truly be blessed by God.
Anyway,
it's the way that we recession-proof our businesses. It's the way that we ensure continued success into the future, is we say, it doesn't belong to me. I'm just here to steward this thing. It belongs to God. He's the CEO of this company. Right. I'm running the operations here on earth. Right. Right. Yeah. But he's the CEO. So we are that expression. And when we make that distinction to say, this is who I am, it's not what I do. following Christ isn't what I do, it's who I am.
Hmm.
And it becomes integrated in every aspect. And man, if anybody I know has embodied that, it's been you. You know, that is your business. It's PEC.
Yeah.
It's Gammersfelder. It's Mission of Sight. It's all those things have been and always will be an expression of the kingdom of God. And you'll never convince me, Doctor, that your success, so what I mean by that is not just your success as a business person. You've been successful as a business, but I'm talking about your ability. So when man, I'll never forget coming to the first cataract surgeries, traveling to Jamaica to be a part of the very first surgeries there, that whole, and coming in with just the buzz that was going on, doctors coming in, people having surgeries done for the very first time, this dream. And you remember that season, you remember it well. Oh, yeah. I remember you going there and camping out because you'd been having some hard times with getting some paperwork done and some codes and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the conversation with you where we talked about it. You said, I'm just going to go camp there and I'm not leaving until this is done.
I do remember that.
Remember that?
I was going to be, I was like, hand me another brick. I'm going to sit here and build this wall. We're going to get this thing through. I do remember that. That's a great, thanks for putting that one back up.
Oh man, dude, phenomenal. I'll never forget it. And I remember getting the call from you and saying, we got it. The papers are done. We got it passed. We can go. And that from that point was just ramp up, fast speed, accelerated to the first surgeries. And coming in for those first surgeries and seeing the work, watching people go in 24 hours from blind to 20/20.
Crazy.
Absolutely just nuts. Crazy-o. One of my fondest memories of our relationship and really kind of in my life, I was just a comical moment is being there at that week and you standing up to pray at the beginning of the day and you say the prayer. And as you're standing there, you're actually going to have me come up and share right behind you. So I was standing behind you and there's a room filled with people waiting for surgeries and their families. And you're standing up there praying. And there's no way I can create this visual on this for everybody here listening, but I'm standing behind you, looking out past you, and the doors to the building are open. Mm-hmm. As you are praying, as you're praying and encouraging people, this guy goes riding by on a donkey in the background.
Isn't it the greatest?
I remember thinking to myself, holy smokes, you can't script this stuff.
No.
Here you are talking. I mean, and it was just like, I knew for me in that moment, you can't create that. No. These are like God intersections of experiences that here you are doing this work in the lives of people that so need it so dramatically. Mm-hmm. And so they need it. I mean, it's their last ditch. It's their last hope.
Yeah, they're not going to get it anywhere else, really.
Come on.
Not in those days, especially.
Stand there, do that, and then look at me and go, I'm just a businessman.
Right.
Tell me you're not an anointed man of God that's doing business. Come on, Doug.
Yeah.
You can't create that stuff.
No.
You just have to be
donkey, Tom.
What?
Especially not the guy riding on the donkey. Now, here's what I love about that.
I had a video, man. Golly, it was the best.
Didn't Jesus ride in on a donkey?
He did. I'm telling you, bro. When I saw
that, like Jesus just kind of going by, you know,
it looked like Jesus or one of the disciples. I was like, this is great. Man.
Oh, that's great.
That doctor was just like doing the fast hop too, which just added to it. It was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
but the point of that is just to say, you know, you talk about the idea of leading business leaders. You know, I had the chance for 6 years, I think it was, to lead Leadership Marion, to interface with 20, 30 leaders every year for 9 months on once a month on a Friday for 9 months, and just encourage them with hope about our community. And man, it was a real thrill to be able to do that and to speak into business, the clarity of business, the alignment, the busting through barriers of business, helping people get connected to greater, stronger vision for their business. There, to me, is not a separation. It's not like I don't have to put on a different hat. I don't have to. I remember being in some positions and conversations with community leaders, and asking myself, why am I at this table? You know, I'm a pastor. And some people, to your point, would just say, he's a preacher, you know, that's all we do is preach. But I'm a pastor. Why am I at this table? And I remember in those instances that one time clearly God spoke to my heart and just said, you're here to listen to me. And I was like, that's my job. My job is just to be there to hear what God might want to interject in this conversation. You know? But being connected to the business side of it doesn't mean, I can't be a believer and do that. You kidding me? I carry my faith into everything I do. Just like I learn from the best, man. I learn from you, watching you carry. And when you're in Jamaica, you better have your faith prayed up. You better
be ready down there. It's
first time in my life I ever saw a triple pass on a highway. It was
right. I know Rhonda's going to have to chime in on that one. She's going to have to chime in.
That was awesome.
I think that one was going up the mountain in Mandeville. Was that? Do you remember it there, or where do you remember where you were?
Yes, we were going up to Mandeville, and we turned a corner, and you started to pass a car. As you started to pass a car, another guy came over and started to pass you.
Yeah.
So you passed them, and they passed you at the same time. I was like, wow, that's phenomenal.
That's how we do it.
It's driving. That's exactly right.
You know, the name, like the idea of this 2020 show, the core of it is about me not being able to write a book. So I said I could do 52 shows for a year. I could do 52 of these. I'll commit to a year, and then out of this, there's got to be a book in there. So, I don't know what'll happen to do that, but the name of the book, I do know the title, and it's Impossible Without God. Because, we always say, well, with God, all things are possible. What I like to say is that all the things that I've seen are impossible without God.
Wow.
Like all of Jamaica stuff, like the donkey and the cataract surgeries and the blind people seeing and the building coming out of the ashes, they are all impossible without God and Tom. There's and now it's impossible without ordinary people like you and me.
That's right.
Who say, yes, Lord, we'll go and we'll do, but it is impossible without him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Rhonda. Triple pass or a cow like child. There you go. That's another good one.
And it's stuff that probably we would only understand, but the first trip that we took via bus with one of our board members on the Knutsford, just their life-changing experiences, honestly, are you got to be prayed up as where your faith is put to the test. Riding on that bus for 4 hours, it was absolutely awesome. But the thing of it is
that was on the Knutsford. That was
the Knutsford. Yes.
Matt, was that Matt? One on that was in the front seat.
That was Matt.
I remember the whole time. This is like you've never seen anything like that.
So he gets on the bus and he says, "I want to ride in the jump seat. I want to be right up front, big old glass up front." I was like, we're fine back here. But he turned to me white knuckled about 10 minutes in and came back and sat by us.
Everybody loves those.
Yeah, it's good.
Everybody loves them, man. So here we are. Okay, we're about a half hour point. We're halfway through, so we kind of got the catch up. We've been doing Jamaica. We've been doing life. I mean, I do remember this. I did want to add this one in. Here, Matt and Kathy will never be the same from that bus ride. That's not the truth. I mean, everybody's got a good bus ride story in Jamaica. Typically, it's one of the best things that we do. But I do remember, just to talk about your preaching thing, I remember coming to Lee Street. My first things, and I want this in here so that it gets included in the chapter. And Rhonda and I being there in that little space, in that little spot, in a little burby part of Marion, where you just never think you'd go, and you were up there on that stage, and I just remember going, he should be on, like, that message and that delivery is like for stages of thousands of people. And we had like maybe 42 people or 38 or whatever in there at the time, and I just remember going, oh my Lord, what's he doing here? Almost like, what am I doing in the Gammersfelder Center with a donkey running around?
Yes.
But that God called you back there to do that. And I just do really enjoy and still have such a fond memory of watching that grow every week, every day, every moment, and then get you guys to where you're at now in that bigger building, and all the plans that God has for that as well, for the city of Marion. You guys have made a huge impact in Marion, and I know our lives were definitely one of them. Like, we needed you those days. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, this is really great. There were a lot of times that we just flat out needed you. And so I just wanted that to go on record and appreciate. And then we left you. You know, like we always talked about living by each other. Like, wouldn't it be great? You finally, everything happens, all the stars align. You get the house that is really great for your family and your ministry, your mom and everybody else. And I don't even think we were there a week and we left.
Oh, you're gone. Yeah, the fact that I'm on this show is a part of my healing process, just so you know. I mean, this is a big step for me.
We're not the only ones who do that to you either, though, right? Like, that's a common thing with you, right? Like, you have some close people that end up getting taken away from you, right?
Well, I mean, you know, we've definitely had friends that have been here and are gone now, for sure.
Yeah,
they're not around us anymore. Yeah. So,
oh my! But
most of my close friendships, pastor friends, and those kinds of things are definitely states away, worlds away.
Yeah. Here, Brenda, she says that you've made a huge impact in her life, and thankful for FLC. I love that we are still a part of FLC, like you said too. You know, so that's it. It's got that out. I feel better now. Rhonda's got something coming on. Oh yeah, I always said that I felt like there should be, and there will be, hundreds of thousands of people behind us to listen, to be impacted by the power of the word. Yeah, that's what I just remember so distinctly. Like, I felt like I think that's the other thing. I knew I was in this little space, but I felt like I was in this massive auditorium, just with the message and just the power that God did there. So, yeah. So you come out of small starts in Marion, and a great space now. But let's talk about this, because you're such a visionary, Tom, and you're so expressive. Like, I love how things that you bring out, and I want folks to hear that aspect of you. And here we are. We have to talk about COVID. I mean, half the people are going to say, I don't want to hear anything more about COVID-19. You know, and I'm almost one of them. But the reality is that I felt like you could bring some vision. It's the 2020 show. Right. I felt like you could bring some vision to kind of, you know, because we're taking a lot of countries are starting to take a pivot now too. The pivot point that we talk about, where people are going back to work. We've done the lockdown. We've done that. You're up in Ohio, so I know that you're kind of opening up. I'm in Chattanooga here in Tennessee. We're kind of opening up. But give us a little insight on your take and what you've seen, and encourage us in some way about COVID-19.
Yeah.
In 2020.
Wow. What a man.
I'd like to hear your take.
What an unexpected situation, you know, to wake up one day and realize we got to lock down. You know, one of the things I think that's been pretty, what's the word? It's been like a stark reality in my mind has been, we've always known connectedness, right? You and I have talked about it, even some in our conversations, this connectedness of people. But wow, has this ever shown how small the world really is? And
isn't that true?
It is true. And how quickly something like this can affect everyone on the face of this planet. I just think we got to let that sink in for a second. That we talk about the big wide world. We talk about everybody in the world. We talk about the whole wide world. Now, let me express that in terms of what God has said about mankind. You know, I think for a long time, we've thought to ourselves about what God said, that until the word of God is delivered everywhere on the face of the earth, that, you know, we'll continue to live, we'll continue to be on this earth. But once the gospel is preached to the utter ends of the earth, then the end will come, right? And this isn't about end times. What I'm talking about is the wake up call that we're not as big as we think we are. we're not as untouchable as we think we are. We're not as unreachable as we think we are. That every country on earth, with the exception of just a few places on earth that have had to deal with this, proves and shows to us that 7.9, whatever the number is now, billion people on the face of the earth are not unreachable. They can be reached. And so when the word of God says that the gospel will reach everyone on the face of the earth, can I just remind us all that's not impossible?
That's interesting. I haven't heard that angle yet, Tom.
And that there is coming a day when the last message will be preached. We were at a conference recently. Man, one of the most powerful things I've heard in a really long time. And a missionary stood up to talk about some work that they're doing, and I believe in the American Samoas. And they have a ministry there. They have a boat, and they take these boats out on the islands, and there are thousands of islands that have been untouched by humanity, places where they don't know about modern anything, they're disconnected from the world. And as she was talking, they were talking about their ministry of taking the gospel to these islands. And she said, one day it occurred to me that there was a moment in history when the first gospel message was preached. When Paul preached the first gospel message, right? And we know about it.
Right.
We know about it in the Bible. When he preached that first gospel message of salvation, she said, there was a first one and it's recorded. She said, do you know that there's coming a day, and there's a possibility that it may be one of us stepping off of our boat onto an island in the American Samoas, when the gospel will be preached, and the last person will have heard that message will lift their hand and receive Christ, and the book will be closed. Come on, Doug, think about this. And the book will be closed, and the Father will give the nod to the Son, and the Son will say, it's done, let's go.
Ooh.
It's going to, I'm telling you, when she delivered, and I can't deliver it like she did, but man, when she talked about that, I think a part of what in the back of my mind through this whole thing has been several things on the first uptake is the where this brings us with relationship to how small, how close-knit we all actually are, and how reachable we all are. I think the second thing is, so first of all, my first impression for people would be, this is an incredible opportunity to turn your face toward God. This is an incredible opportunity to recognize that the love of God reaches every facet of our lives, every nook and cranny of the earth, and that he loves every one of us, and that it's time for us to turn to God, right? Under our own volition, let's turn to God. The second thing is I think we talked about a little bit, this idea of pivoting out of this season. What do we do now? And the other thing that's occurred to me is it possible, and I don't know how true this is, but it feels true. Is it possible that right now is one of the most maybe the last chance we get to make some major changes in our lives that we know we need to make, and nobody would blame us for it?
Yeah.
6 months ago, if you'd have said, I'm quitting PEC, I'm leaving the Gammersfelder Center, I'm going a completely different direction, everybody would be like, man, what's wrong? You're having a meltdown? What's going on?
Right.
What happened to you?
Yeah.
You put your whole life into this. What are you talking about? You know?
Can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I have this sense that now, if you were to sincerely say, I'm feeling drawn in a different direction coming out of this season, I think almost everybody would be like, man, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
It's like I've said this several times in conversations, and you and I have been in conversations before at restaurants, and we can get into good conversations, right? We get into deep conversations. And have you ever done this where you've been like, somebody asks you a question, you're like, blah, 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 you're going on about it, and you're kind of working it out as you're talking, right?
Me, yeah.
But then somebody walks up to the table and interrupts. They know you, Dr. Doug. They come interrupt the conversation, and when they leave, it's like all of a sudden you have this greater clarity about where you were going with that point. You go and you say this, you go, anyhow, and you get right to the point. Have you ever done that? Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. We would never, ever ask. I would never, ever ask for a tragedy like this pandemic to be this kind of an interruption in our lives. However, I feel like there's an opportunity here for us. Our lives have been interrupted.
Yeah.
We never asked for it to happen this way. It's been tragic for a lot of people, but our lives have been interrupted. I think it's a chance for us to pause and get to the point in our lives.
Yeah.
I think it's a chance for us to go, what really matters? What do I need to do that matters more than anything else? And I'm going to forget about all the other nonsense, the trying to figure it out on the fly. I'm going to get focused. I'm going to get myself some 20/20 vision, some clarity. And I'm going to get to the point in my life. I know that's where I feel like we are in ministry. It's where we are personally.
Yeah.
We've been interrupted. All right, let's get to the point.
Anyhow, you know what I mean? Like,
anyhow,
like to me, that's someone start calling COVID. It's just going to call it anyhow.
Anyhow,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rhonda says a chance to pause and get right to the point.
Yeah.
I love that visual. See, that's what I'm talking about. You, Tom, you painted a picture of me sitting at Steve's Dakota Grill.
That's it.
I'm chatting away about something. I'm really good. Someone comes up and says something, and then anyhow, what I was saying is, that's right. That's kind of what COVID could be. Is that anyhow moment where you pause. And I mean, I think did Rhonda put that in there and get right to the point? I think I wrote down is what's most important, because just for us on a how do we navigate and keep eye care going in Jamaica right now, right? Mm-hmm. We need to focus on what's most important. Like all this, like that. This is what Rhonda did an amazing job of early on. Is like, okay, we got to set a budget, and we got to cut out everything that doesn't fit in it. And the beauty of it was at that point, was that we were allowed to do that. Yeah. Because it was COVID. Like, why are you not going to give away cups that turn color when you put hot water in them anymore? Well, because it's COVID right now. We have to just focus on we have to focus on what's important. Like you cut out all the fluff. And I mean, it's just a little example, but that's basically what we had to do. And I will say, I feel like that we have been because of that, we're successful. Yes. And I believe it's wisdom. I don't believe it's about riches, and it's not in money. It was wisdom from above. That's right. That gave us that to say, what are you going to do? And it's not like it's rocket science, but another guy who told me, Bob Wilson, I don't know if he's watching or not, but you got to say yes. You got to say no to say yes. There's some things that you got to say no to so you can say yes. So what's the yes? Right. Yes, we have to stay in business. We have lives that we take care of. We have staff that we employ. We have people that are going blind, and we have to say yes to them. So in order to say yes to them, we're going to have to say no to Dr. McCloy traveling down there right now. It's not in the budget to jump on an airplane. Well, fortunately, COVID solved that for me too, because I can't fly in anyway. Yeah. And so now we're looking at it as well, does it make sense for me to fly 2 times a month at, X amount of dollars per flight? Yeah. Or should I stay home one of those and just do some Zoom calls? So a lot of those things, those little anyhows. Yeah. This is great. Ken says, Doug pictured me interrupting the conversation. And that is so true, Ken. It would be Ken who would walk up. I love that. But pivot points. Everybody's talking about pivot points. Like this is a pivot point. Right. Tell us about Kathy's analogy. I love this. Rhonda, you better be listening. This is good.
This is brilliant. We were talking about early on when things began to shut down. And of course, as a church, what that meant immediately is that we can't get together congregationally, which is a kind of a big deal in a local church. And so, So thankfully, we had been already well down the road in terms of online presence. Yeah. So pivoting to online for us wasn't a major issue. It was more about what we wanted to provide. And our team has done an incredible job of providing online content resources for people to stay connected. Something happening every day online for people to connect to through FLC. Yeah. And so as we started talking about the pivot, what's it look like? We started talking about it in a broader context, and not just what do we have to do to pivot for this season, but what do we need to pivot for from now on? And so as we were in the conversation, Kathy just had a brilliant thought that she threw into it. She said, if you think about pivot from a basketball perspective, she said, you don't pivot in basketball unless two things. One, you're on offense. So just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pivot unless you're on offense. And two, unless you have the ball. So the person who's
that's true. You have to have the ball too.
There's no need to pivot if you don't have. Why you want to stand around on a pivot foot if you don't have the ball? You don't want to do that.
Exactly.
Pivot foot is for when you have the ball. It keeps you from getting into a penalty situation. So the 2 points, you're on offense. So we pivot offensively, not defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that we have to know from a business perspective, from an organizational perspective, is our pivot is offensive, not defensive. We're not pivoting to not fail. We are pivoting to have greater success.
Mm-hmm.
So that pivot, first of all, is offensive. We're staying on the offense. And the second one is that we have the ball. So we are in control of this situation. I said this past 2 Sundays ago, talking about crossing over the idea of anxiety, overcoming some anxiety and that kind of thing. And that is that fear is one of those things in our lives that if we have the two options we have is that fear either controls us or we control fear. So that's just the way it's going to be. We either control the anxiety or the anxiety is going to control us.
Mm-hmm.
When we have that ball in our hands, we have the opportunity to be in control. And I've heard this said a lot, Doug, in conversations recently, the idea that God is in control. And I get where that comes from. I get the idea that God is powerful, that he is all wise, he is all knowing, and certainly he's not sweating this situation. He is still God. And I get that's the gist of that idea, but we have to watch the language, because the truth is that God is not in control of the things going on here in this earth. We are. He has given us control. Go back, read through how creation happened and what he said to Adam and Eve. I'm giving you jurisdiction. I'm giving you dominion, authority in the earth. Yeah. We've been given control. Now we can give that control to God to control us. And this goes back to what you said a second ago. God did not build the Gammersfelder Center block by block physically. Mm-hmm. He built it through you. I want to be careful how they say that, because I don't want people to be like, what's he saying? I'm saying God worked through you to get the Gammersfelder built. You had the ball in your hands. Huh. And a pivot point for you was that January when you went down and you said, anyhow, I'm getting the permits.
Right. I'm camping out.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm throwing an interruption in this thing. Anyhow, I'm pivoting. I got the ball. We're getting the permits. Mm-hmm. And it was that moment just months later. You're in it, man. What if you hadn't made that move? What if you hadn't pivoted in that point?
I would have.
What if you hadn't?
I would have gotten the 5-second rule for stalling. Like it'd turn over. The ball would have left. You got to give the ball to the other team.
Right. Yeah. Anyhow, so that's the pivot. And I thought, man, that was just brilliant. The whole idea. We're on offense. We have control.
Yeah.
We give control to the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. He leads us. He says, get on the plane, go down, stay there until you get your permits. We're like, all right.
Yeah.
We pivot on that.
There's a lot going on between Kathy and Ken and Rhonda here about the pivoting. I want to put this one back up for Millicent. She's one of our patients down there. Thank you, and blessings to all the doctors at Rose Hall. I did my eyes there on the 4th of February and seeing so clear. I give you thanks, and for God, all my thanks and praises the staff, and so caring and warm. And
thank you, Melissa. That's awesome.
That's the what matters. Right now is getting that. And the beauty of it is that Millicent had that done in Rose Hall, which is a second extension from the Gammersfelder Center. So reaching different people, different regions, different ways. So,
wow.
I love it. Ken wants an amen. I think we'll give him an amen. Amen to that. But those are the kind of things that I've always loved about you, Tom and Kathy, because you guys are like, I mean, really, I mean, you're like me and Rhonda in the same way. I mean, you and I are a lot the same. I'm not sure exactly of the complete dynamic. Like if she's the one who kind of keeps the structure and order in place, I think she does a little bit. Me and you are kind of out there, because we are whatever that personality is or that visionary. We're out in the front, or we're not any better. We're not worse. I had some time where I thought I was worse. because I wasn't organized enough, you know. But then I realized, and the thing I saw tonight was that I think it was can't remember his name, but him, right? Anyhow, that guy, he said, you know, you don't build a football team with 11 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you don't build a church with 6 preachers.
Right.
Right. You need every kind of person. It's like that. It's like the body, you know, you got to have an eye, you got to have a hand, you got to have that. So I know that it wouldn't be right if we didn't bring Kathy into a little bit of your story too, because I mean, she's such a compliment, and I like of Rhonda and I as synergy. Her 1 plus my 1 equals like 3 or even 4.
Yeah, for sure.
1 plus 1 equals 2. Yeah. And I know that you and Kathy together are that same kind of formula.
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. I mean, she is brilliant, honestly, just brilliant. Yeah. She's one of the most faith-filled people that you'll meet.
That's true.
Yes.
She doesn't mess around with faith at all.
She does not mess around with faith. No, not at all.
And belief.
Passionate. Yeah, passionate about that.
I would say the belief of her faith, which is faith. But, you know, like if I'm believing for something, maybe I'm working at it, you know, 70% I'm believing in that. Like I've never seen her less than 95 I've never seen her less than 100. I don't think it's just like,
no, it's true.
I'm looking for this and it's happening, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, I've been shut down, you know, because I wasn't, my words were not aligning with what we were believing for.
There you go. Yeah.
Really rightfully so, man. Just, you know, I've been told, you know, we've told this before. So I've been told, stop talking. My words just not aligning with what we were believing for in faith. Just stop talking. Just stop, you know.
Rhonda does it all the
time. No, she's phenomenal. You know, she's written books. The journey of faith that she's been on is my best friend in the whole world. I mean, we were best friends before we got married. We celebrated 29 years in March. Yeah. And still to this day, just best friends. This is one of the ways that we say it. I don't think I think saying it this way probably doesn't shine as much great light on the second part of it. It's like some would say I'm the wow, she's the how, you know. But that's how those two things go together. Yeah. And I'm with you. You know, I think sometimes there's a tendency to look at people that are creative and those types of things and think that they don't really, you know, there's a one dimension to what they have to bring to the table. But it's not true. It's not fact. And the same is true of those who are more organized and serious about getting things right and systems and processes. Man, an eye is more than a retina. You know, it's like you got to have all the pieces working together to have good vision. And I would not want to be on any part of this journey without Kathy by any stretch of anybody's imagination. So she's amazing.
No doubt. You know, I love her. She should be on the show. I mean, I need a show with Kathy, to be honest with you. Yeah. Jack Branch, he brought up a point that I still believe that we are separated at birth in some way or another, that we even look like we could be biological brothers. I know there's a picture of you in like 8th grade, and I know I have the exact same picture, Tom, and I still have yet to find it. If my
we gotta see it.
I have got to find this one where I know I'm wearing a green Izod shirt. I've got hair that's just like yours. And I'm telling you, if we put those two pictures together, and I can't find it,
we got to find it
every now and then. If we put those two pictures together, Tom, we will laugh so hard to see our pants when we see how much we already got. I love it. So, so you say the wow and the how. Rhonda always, we sometimes say I'm the accelerator and she's the brake. Which I don't like that analogy either, but it's kind of like, you know, I'm always like going out there, and then she's like, okay, we'll go, but we're not gonna go off the corner on the road when it takes a turn, Doug. We're gonna stay in the line a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you gotta have those two things together are what make it work. The reason that you guys have had success is because of the dynamics of your personalities working in concert, you know, obviously the faith and the blessing and the anointing that's been on your life, but all the concert of your personalities. So you gotta have both.
You do.
Yeah.
It's a see. If we were both the same, it would be bad.
Absolutely.
But I really wish that, I don't have the regrets thing. I don't play a lot of the regret game, but it would have been nice to know now, like then what we know now about each other better, like if I would have understood our personalities better, understood, like, maybe I would just think of it was more like, well, she just doesn't want to have fun.
You talking about you and Rhonda?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she's just really conservative, or whatever. Like, I love my wife to all end of the day, and she's the best thing ever in my entire world. And I wish I would have understood our relationship better earlier, than now, because it's so awesome now that we're beginning to understand ourselves better.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like it back then, but just thinking, oh my golly, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it, other than the fact that maybe you and Kathy always knew yourselves that well. But
a little bit. Let's talk about that. So,
should we go deeper with that, Doug?
Well, one of the things that the Word teaches us that I think is maybe often quoted, but not necessarily integrated, and that is each one of us is meant to look out for the best interest of the other. Not just our own best interest. I mean, that's straight out of the Word of God. Each one should look out for the best interest of the other. When you do that, when you look out for the best interest of the other, and the other's looking out for your best interest, then everybody's interest is looked out for, and satisfied. If I'm in this relationship of friendship with you, and I'm looking for ways that I can serve you and encourage you and spur you on, then you're going to get what you need from that relationship. And if you're doing the same thing for me, I'm going to get what I need from. I think that's one of the things that's always made our relationship really work is we've been able to share all of our experiences, and neither one of us have had a selfish perspective about our relationship. When I've traveled with you to Jamaica, I've served with you there. It's always been to help you accomplish the vision that God has in your heart. But simultaneously, as I've walked through all of that, I've been served just as well in every one of the experiences. I'm telling you, that's why I alluded to the whole journal thing. It's, man, some of the greatest the veranda at Nurse Karen's, sitting out there, the revelation that I've received for my life that is activated in my life today as a leader, as a business person, as a man of God and a father, I'm telling you, was revealed to me on the veranda at Nurse Karen's place. I'm forever grateful for it.
Yeah.
But that's a service I received while trying to provide help and service to my friend. That's how those relationships work. When we're looking out for each other's best interest, the best interest gets served both ways. And I got to tell you, I can't be on the 2020 Vision Show without saying that my experience with you and the friendship that we've built through this has been incredibly enriching in my life personally. I absolutely cherish our friendship and the memories and the experiences that we've had together and continue to build together as we go. But the car rides, the soupy on the side, the peanut soup, all those things that are normal experiences for everyone to have, I'm telling you, for me, impacted me on a soul level. I really thoroughly enjoyed those, and I'm incredibly grateful for them. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of that journey and just your journey overall. It's been fun.
I love it. That it's a great way for us to end the show, is because what you're talking about is the double blessing. Because I've talked about double blind, double blessing kind of being one of those themes, but it still goes impossible without God, but the double blessing is for me so huge in our Jamaican story and in my story in my life altogether. I mean, I'm the second, I'm Douglas McCloy, the second. So I've had this double thing on me for a long time. But when you talk about like your experience and how blessed you were on the veranda, right? And those things, I mean, at the same time, I was being blessed for all that you had done for those kids and for Nurse and the encouragement that she needed, things I couldn't provide that you came and delivered. and you go on at another level. Like you poured out for us, but God poured on for you. Like it's always it's so good that way. And that's, I think, why he told us to love others and like we love ourselves, and all those riches of those blessings will come down to us. So
love it.
I love it. Oh, so here, Ken needs to come to Jamaica for what in the world's peanut soup. You got it's just one of those blessings, Tom.
Change your life. That's all.
Soupy for the soul, Rhonda calls it. But hey, we hit an hour, Tom.
Awesome.
And look, there wasn't a dull moment on that session.
No doubt we could do it.
We could. Oh,
I know that one of the things you had mentioned as you close out here, that you had mentioned the whole prior to the show talking about the COVID-19 thing, and I just thought it'd take 15 seconds.
We could go 15 more minutes, Tom. I just letting you know. Now we're all bonus time.
All right. I'll just do it quickly, just to encourage everybody's heart that's listening, and that is this: that God is for you. He is not against you. He loves you tremendously. And all of us face dilemmas in life. Every one of us is going to face a dilemma in life. Yeah. We all have a desert behind us. We all are staring at a dream on the other side of that dilemma. And we all have a decision to make. And that decision is whether or not we will allow God to be God in our lives. And I just want to encourage you, no matter where you are today, you may be hurting. You may be feeling the effects of all that's happening in the world today. You might have been feeling it before all this started. And it just has increased as a result. I just want you to be encouraged that God loves you, He cares about you, and there's a decision that you can make to put your trust and faith in Him, and He will help to bring. All we've talked about tonight has been my journey, Doug's journey, with allowing God to be God in our lives. And we've not gotten it perfect every time, but we can tell you He's done some tremendous things in our lives, and we've gotten to experience that together. So I just want to encourage you, your heart in that. You can pivot this season. You can turn it around. And this guy that is the host of this show is an incredible man of God, and he's done it multiple times. Just continue to be encouraged by him, and he'll help you pivot through this season. So, Doug, thank you for letting me be here with you.
I love it. And that way to let everybody know that it's through Christ that we have had these experiences.
Yeah.
Our acceptance of Him and our following of Him, like taking the acceptance into an action mode.
That's right.
Critical thing. Like, you're a man of action, Tom. Like, it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to actually do it and live it. And that's why I think that we've always been so connected, because I think we're kind of both that same way.
Yeah, let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ken says you need to be on his show. He does a show too, so he's recruiting you to be a guest.
Do it.
Ken, you really should have Tom on there. No doubt about it. Man, well, it's been awesome. I'm looking forward to when you're coming to Chattanooga next, Tom. I don't know if we've defined that yet, but
we're ready.
It's coming. And what's the word on? Give me this one, because I haven't seen this one. What's the word on your church? Like, opening up. Like, what are they saying? Like, are you going to be able to put 45 people in there 6 feet apart? What happens to churches? Because I don't think anybody's really brought that one out. Tell us about it. Give us a couple minutes on that and let me know what's
for sure. So we are currently, right now, what we're working is what it looks like to reopen. So internally, we're working on the processes, best practices, those types of things for what reopen looks like. That will be done here just in the next little while, not very long at all. What we'll do then is we'll communicate that out to a core team of people. We'll look at what that looks like in terms of training. We'll have to go through training with some of our volunteers. What's it look like to receive people? Yeah. There's a level of uncertainty, obviously, that people will have to deal with. Will they be willing to come and serve? We see these memes all the time online, right, of what the first church service is going to look like, what the parking lot is going to look like. And the truth is that's not going to happen. Once governors say, hey, you can have church again, unless they say there's no more COVID on the face of the earth, nobody's ever going to get sick from it again, go back to life as normal immediately, then I think we'd have the cars piled up in the parking lot and the place packed out. Right. But I think what we'll see is likely a trickle of people back into comfort zones of being around people again. Yeah. So what we're planning for is that reality. And basically, once we get the word from the governor and the health department that here's the number, whatever that number is going to be, no more than 50 together, 10 together, whatever, then we'll be ready to say, okay, here's our plan, and allow people to kind of start being a part of the process again. So
have you got
that structure is happening right now? What's that?
Have you gotten any communication from the state about when or what? I mean, are they giving you any line on that?
We're getting the same line everybody's getting. I mean, so everybody, pretty much we all know the same thing, which at this point, my clearest understanding here in Ohio, I believe, is that May 12th is the date now that we're looking at for things beginning to reopen. So we're expecting to probably hear something around that time frame for really what we're listening for. So churches have been different. We've not necessarily been mandated to shut down in the state of Ohio. Everyone's been good actors. All the churches that I know of basically have been good participators and have done, I think, what's the right thing. Yeah. And that is to kind of take a measured approach. So I think what we're waiting on right now is just to hear professionally what the recommendation is, what the number of people in a building is, 10 people, 50 people, whatever. Right. And then from there, we'll have everything in lined up and let our church congregation know, hey, here's how we're going to do this. And if you want to come back, here's what it's going to look like, that type of a thing. I mean, there are certain aspects of church that probably won't be normal for quite a while, you know, breaking out into sub ministries within the building and those types of things. So it'll be different for a while.
Ken says he can go to Walmart, but not to church.
Yeah.
There's definitely issues there, but thanks for sharing that one.
Here's the thing is that I don't feel pressed on about it. I said from the very beginning that if I felt like the government was overreaching, that we would take a stand. Bottom line. I mean, if we felt like this is okay, we would just take a stand and say, this isn't going to happen. This is America and we're going to, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel like that's been the case. Yeah. So I think we're just walking through wisdom, and our online viewership has been great as we've connected with a lot of people. I'm really thankful for that. Yeah. A lot of people have found hope in what we've been delivering. So I feel good about that process. Yeah. Is that helpful?
Yeah. I haven't heard anything from anybody about what the church thinks, so because I heard, I had one of my best friends, Doug Bell, on, and he's an educator. He's a principal of like a STEM school. So just hearing how they navigated through, and obviously we're all faith-based here, and we really heard what's the deal. We had Kevin Seymour on from Hope Community Nazarene down in over in like Coshocton, I believe that's where it is. That they're one of those churches who didn't have any online presence. So we talked about like, hey, this is actually good. You're actually now have an online presence that you didn't have before. And I mean, like Ken's on here a lot. I mean, this has been great for Ken's business. That's what he does. He helps people take it. This is why I have this show, is because of his coaching and his help. So, I when you were talking about the whole thought of like that the word could actually get shared to everyone in the world, like that the gospel could get to everyone, I've always in my mind always thought, that's never going to happen. There's always going to be somebody in the bush that ain't going to hear it. But when, like you say, when you put it in perspective that COVID has touched just about everybody in one way or another, and now what I've been saying earlier on in this is that the word is getting out there in a lot of places. Like it's so much more present on media now that it's really getting out there. And interesting. But you guys have always been on that game. Like you're cutting edge from early on, Tom. I know that.
You're our little.
And honestly, I mean, I got another minute to go before we kind of maybe go too long. But that was what was huge for us. What I'm thinking, I remember this for the book, is that we would watch FLC from Jamaica.
Yes,
we were onliner FLCs because like our whole story was be at home for the summer, and that's when the kids would be around, and then we would be in Jamaica for the school year once we kind of did that transition back. And we were FLC. One of the best things for us was the fact that you were our online option, and felt like we were still home. We would go to church in Jamaica, but we would still do FLC. So I got to give a big shout out to you for that, for back in those early days, because where would we have been without you? We we needed that. That's what I think when I was saying there was that, it was great that we've been together, but we needed you. That was one of the things that we needed with our kids. They needed to stay connected to their church body and their church family. And you did that through online stuff.
Yeah, good old Ustream, man. Those were the days. One camera,
right? Ustream,
one low resolution camera in the back of the auditorium, man. That's fun.
That's all we needed.
Is it?
It used to be like your sound crew. We'd be like your online crew. Like, hey, you need to. It's just only coming out of one mic right now.
Yeah.
That was awesome. All right. Well, let's not overdo it. Ken says it's seriously a great show, so we'll close it out from here. Stay on after, Tom. I want to chat to you a little bit more, but I'm going to do our little closure and run it out of here on us. Thanks everybody for watching.